Dear Spirit, please connect me with a past loved one of any of my subscribers or anyone who will be watching this video. I receive the words mischievous parenting and mischievous mom. Something about shopping. I received the words murder and massacre. I'm being shown an airplane. This airplane was used to traffic children from one country to another. I received the words back door. This is referring to how some children were abducted, lured, or has something to do with the way they were taken. It also has to do with like a metaphor for gaining access to things, to people, places, and things in a covert way. I'm being shown a club, like a nightclub. Something has to do with being dizzy. I'm receiving these words. Something has to do with being dizzy. It's like, please show me more. I'm being shown a club where underage people go or are allowed to go. It's not all underage people there. There's definitely older people there taking advantage of these younger people. The dizziness is referring to drinking, date rape, drugs, and the like. I received the words prep you to, and the words under the influence. I'm being shown a woman. This is a woman who has come through many prior readings. She is a woman who has been described as being robbed for her inheritance by her husband and other close friends and relatives. She has been described as being surveilled illegally through hidden cameras in her home. She has been described as selling her house due to a divorce. And she has been described as being trafficked through these hidden cameras, her and her children. So I'm being taken to a scene where this woman is injured and she's recovering during the time of the sale of her house. And I'm being shown how difficult it was to maintain her home to a state where it would be fit for selling while still living there and being injured, caring for her children and keeping the house clean and getting a divorce. It was difficult for her. And the person she was working with to sell the house had befriended her. And in being shown the two of them sharing a box of wine in her bedroom where she was laid up and healing. And the box of wine was brought over by this new friend whose surface level intentions were to console her, support her. And I am being shown that this injured woman, she had very few people that she could trust at this time. And this person who had befriended her, who was helping to sell her house, she befriended her knowing that this woman had very few people, if any, to turn to, and very little resources to exist with. So there was a time where she struggled to cook meals, to buy food, and this friend brought over food and a box of wine. And they spent several hours talking, as friends do, learning about each other. And so I'm shown the two of them having wine together over several hours. I am receiving the words, harvest more money. And this is referring to the woman who is helping to sell the house, who is appearing to befriend the woman selling the house. And she is actually spending this time with her to harvest information in order to have something to report. In prior readings, it is mentioned that the husband of this woman selling the house has not only set her up to be robbed of an inheritance that belongs to her, but also to be trafficked, illegally surveillanced, and set up to be red-rummed along with her children. So this woman appearing to befriend her is gathering information for him. She's working for this husband who is paying her a very large sum of money, which was explained in a prior reading. This woman helping to sell the house has accepted a very large bribe. I'm being shown the woman who brought the box of wine. She is shutting the door of the bedroom so that it's like blocking out the children. I received the word hallucinogenics. I received the words, put something on her chair. Also the words, rose-colored glasses. This is referring to what this woman was trying to accomplish. She was trying to paint an illusion that she is this woman's friend, and that she's coming to support her and spend time with her and get her to feel relaxed during a very stressful situation. I received the words bed, bath, and beyond. This is referring to, and I'm being brought back to the words, put something on her chair. This is all referring to some kind of substance, whether it be a drug or germs, placed in this woman's home, around her, in the places she would be able to be exposed to it by picking it up off a surface of something. And I'm being shown a wine glass. And surfaces in the bathroom. Being shown a petri dish in the bathroom, used to allegedly test for mold. Something was placed in this woman's home to... I'm getting two things. There are two things here. One is to expose her to something, to either make her extremely ill or pass away. It's some kind of poison or disease-causing germ. The other thing that I'm getting is that this woman was being tested on. There is something larger happening here. And this woman is not only under surveillance by a local group which aims to steal from her, but also in a prior reading, it was mentioned that this woman was being surveilled due to a program that someone had entered her in. A program which spies on people who are spiritually gifted. A program which tests and monitors the reactions of people who are spiritually gifted. And in that reading, it was mentioned that this had been happening to this woman since childhood. So there's something about the substance that was placed in her home, while all of these other things were simultaneously occurring. The selling of her house and the divorce, the multiple crimes occurring against her and her children. There was also surveillance occurring by a program which was monitoring her reactions to things. And I am being told that someone was getting paid for this. Someone who works for the federal government. And I'm speaking of the United States. I am given the words cripple and epidemic. And this is referring to a couple of things. One is that the injury sustained by this woman who is trying to sell her house, she had an injury on her leg, and it was difficult for her to walk. She required crutches for a time. But this is also referring to, and this is where the word epidemic comes in, this is also referring to the actions that multiple people took against this woman in order to cripple her in many, many areas of her life, to affect her in ways that would slow her down, hold her back, obstruct her completely from moving forward, from accomplishing the things she needed to do, from being productive, but also from being able to be prosperous. So when there's multiple facets of someone's life being affected in negative ways, it's like a domino effect. One thing affects another, affects another, affects another. And this is what it means in regards to crippling epidemic. But also, crippling is referring to this woman's particular situation that is toxic, having to do with domestic violence, maintaining a sense of security while multiple strangers are coming in and out of her home, defiling her home, and I'm being shown people taking dumps in her toilet and leaving it there. On top of the things that would be necessary to keep the home in an appropriate selling state, and not only to get through a divorce with someone who is playing cat and mouse games, dragging out the divorce, dragging out the sale of their house so that the house depreciates, working with an attorney who is being bribed by this husband to give her the bare minimum in regards to legal help, advice, guidance. And I'm being shown this woman writing her own divorce for the most part. Her attorney, who was bribed by her husband, she had to give enough of herself so as not to appear as if she wasn't helping. So I'm being shown there was a fine balance in what she offered this woman versus what this woman needed to do in order to get through her divorce. I'm being shown her spending hours, days, and weeks writing her own divorce through many drafts sent to her attorney for legal approval. And I'm being shown this time was a lot for her. it became her full-time job to get through this divorce and sell the house. And I'm being shown at some point the person helping to sell the house and the attorney of this woman, they connected by phone at some point. And this was appearing to resolve some issues going on between the two parties that are divorcing. But whatever that discussion was, it was not simply about the house. The woman helping to sell the house was working for the husband, being bribed to do certain things, such as sell it in a depreciated state to poison her and get her to open up and speak about things she's going through during that difficult time so that she could report back to the husband. I received the words bastard and elements. Also the words smear campaign. And I'm being shown a man, someone who has entered this woman's home to do some repairs, who also placed cameras in her home, who was also hired to handle her, and who was hired to take her out. This was her hitman, hired by a family to get rid of this woman so they could steal her inheritance. But I am given words about this man, and those words are a major malfunction. I'm given the word entrap, and this is referring to what he was hired to do to her. To not only entrap her in a situation which would lead to her demise, but it was also to lead her to a situation where she would, it's like whatever their plans were, it was to get her to buy into them. It was to deceive her in such a way where she would willingly take on some kind of role or some kind of decision to do something that would get her involved with something illegal. but it would serve the purpose to frame her, to entrap her in a way that made her look guilty and involved in some way. I just received the words reunion sex. And the weird thing is, these words, they are implying that this woman and this man who came to repair her home, to attract her, to enslave her into some dark path. But these words, they're implying that the two of them had sex. And what I'm being told is that this man spread all kinds of lies about this woman because she did not take his bait. So there are lies and gossip about these two having some kind of affair or sexual encounter or something like this. Which did not take place at all. Because this woman saw right through him. And being shown this man trying to draw attention to himself while working inside her home, trying to bait her. And I'm also being shown that he should have known better. Because what did take place between these two was a conversation regarding what this woman had been through with her husband. And I'm being shown the two of them standing inside of a bedroom where he was doing some repairs, but also this was the bedroom where the woman commonly slept. And she showed him the lock on her door. And I'm being shown that she placed it there for the safety of both her and her children. And this woman explained some of the domestic violence issues that had occurred, which required her to put a lock on her door. This man knew that this woman had been hurt deeply, not just emotionally, but physically. He learned that she feared for her life and the lives of her children. So when he later came at her with an angle which showed her that he was shallow. After learning some deep truths about her and approaching her in this way, she wasn't about to let him in. So there was no sexual encounter between these two, despite any lies or rumors he may have spread about them. In fact, this woman has had no sexual encounters with anyone. since her marriage. And I'm being told to say this because there are several rumors that have gone around. But some of those rumors and lies have to do with this woman's, I don't know, relationship status or sexual misconduct, I guess. I'm being given the word prostitute. There were lies saying that she was a prostitute. And it being shown the husband telling people that this woman was a prostitute. I'm also being told that he said that she had some kind of a sexually transmitted disease, which is also a lie. Okay, yeah, so so this husband spread a lot of lies about her, which the community ate up like pudding. For some reason, people felt that it was okay to believe these lies without, I don't know, checking in with her. It's strange because there was defamation going on here, and the thing is about this defamation is it had to do with this husband spreading lies to whoever he could open his mouth to, whoever would listen to him. And it does require a listener to believe lies and gossip. But many of these people, some of them didn't even know her, and others knew her very well. And so for an entire community to believe outlandish lies about someone who they know isn't and never would be a prostitute, given her history, her interests, and I'm being shown she was interested in women's health, that she counseled people on how to avoid sexually transmitted diseases. I don't know, it's baffling a little bit to me. Somewhere along the lines, the lies that he spread became lies that other people told. And so lies from one person were backed up by the lies of another person, which believed that person, if that makes sense. And so this is also where the word epidemic is coming forth again. Crippling epidemic is where, yeah, because one of the men who came in to do repairs in her home, who came in to handle her and be her hitman, he was friends with her husband. And so the two of them were able to and the word buttress is coming through. This is a construction term having to do with a support that holds up a structure. And so they were able to tell lies about this woman to a large number of people and to use each other to support one another in their supposed experiences with her or about her. And due to a common interest, which was not only their friendship and their sexual relationship together, but also their interest in stealing from her. I'm being taken back to this woman who helped to sell this woman's house. I'm being shown that she was very jealous of this woman who was selling her house. And this had something to do with the interest that the woman selling her house and the hitman had with one another. There was an interest between both of them. There was no sexual relationship whatsoever, but there was an interest, and I'm being shown the woman selling the house who had just been recently divorced when this man came into the picture. And they connected on a mental level. They enjoyed each other's company. And they found it easy to be around one another. They found it to be enjoyable. And there was a surprise, almost like a shock. Some kind of an awakening that occurred that activated them in some way to care for one another. But the way that this woman cared for him and the way that he cared for her, there was a level of respect and a level of value that they saw in one another. However, this woman was on a healing journey, and this man was not. Regardless, and I'm getting back to this woman who was helping to sell the house, being highly jealous of the woman who owns the house. The woman who owns the house did not know that the woman helping her sell it was jealous of her, especially in regards to this man, because the woman helping to sell the house presented herself as a lesbian. And not only that, she had made several self-declarations, I guess you could say. She declared herself a lesbian many, 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 many times to the woman who owns the house. And partly this was like some kind of testing of the waters to see if the woman who owns the house is interested in her. But also I'm being shown that these, I don't know, come-ons, whatever they are, to test her to see if she will be a lesbian too, or if she's interested in women. Like, these were tests, because the woman's husband is spreading lies that she's actually a lesbian. And that, she doesn't like men or something like this. This episode will be called the Jerry Springer episode. Oh my gosh. And so this is multifaceted, because I'm also being shown that the woman helping to sell the house was highly jealous of the woman who owned the house for having some kind of connection with this man who had come in to repair her house. And this connection being somewhat of a, I don't know what to call it. There was some kind of a deep connection. And the way that it occurred had to do with this man demonstrating himself to be upright, a person who is he's got his own business, he's got his shit together, he's got his head on his shoulders, he's grounded, he's smart, he's helpful, and he is appearing very much to be someone who cares for others in his personal life and in business, who acts with integrity, and who has manners, someone who has honor. And I'm being shown that in the short time that they had together, it wasn't a long period of time, but it was enough time to take notice of one another, to want to learn more about each other. Had it been a healthy dynamic, and it was not, the natural course of things would have been that these two may have dated, may have wanted to spend more time with each other. And this was due to the connection that they made, and that the woman who was trying to sell the house was, for some reason, jealous of. And I'm still waiting for Spirit to tell me why, because this woman went out of her way to make it very clear that she was lesbian. So, Spirit, can you please help me with this? I was just given the words, third child. So, what I'm being shown is the woman helping to sell the house. One of the reasons she was jealous of the woman who owned the house had to do with her ability to have children. And specifically, in regards to this man, she didn't want her having children with this man. And Spirit is showing me her putting out intentions of some kind, whether they be through dark spell work or just evil eye or some kind of deep-seated hope that the two of them would not come together and have a child. I received the word purpose. In prior readings, in regards to the hitman, there was some kind of a description of this man wanting to have children with people, have a lot of children, or procreate for the purpose of producing a demigod or some kind of a divine being, producing with people who are spiritually gifted. And this woman knew about this, and she didn't want it to happen. She was jealous of, I'm being shown that she was, I still feel like the picture is unraveling here, but I am getting that she was jealous of this woman for her spiritual gifts, and that she was one of many people who were watching her and her children through these hidden cameras. She didn't like how well this woman was received. And I'm getting that the woman who was being surveilled, the woman who owned and lived in the house, she was someone who everyone wanted to hate, but couldn't. And I say couldn't in regards to people who actually have some semblance of a conscience, because there was certainly people who hated her out of jealousy, who had no conscience. And I'm being shown that this woman who helped sell the home had no conscience. She went to great lengths to disguise herself as a friend to this woman who owned the house, to appear to be a person who supported her during a really hard time, where others were causing her so much strife and obstacles in her life, and sending her negative intentions to unalive herself. This woman who helped to sell the house, she was a friend during all of this. And I'm being shown that she saw a lot of what this woman went through, emotionally, physically. Meanwhile, she knew all of what was going on in the background. I am receiving a feminine energy. This is a woman who is a grandmother. She's saying she's been here before. Episode 1, she's saying. She's saying she's a guardian. She's a guardian of this woman who lives in this house, who is spiritually gifted. And when she showed me her, she showed me this woman, but in her words, she said she was a guardian of fame and fortune. And she's giving me the word futurist. She is referring to this woman being here to be the change. She is saying, I would like to thank this spirit, this grandmother, for coming through, and I am disconnecting now.